Welcome, everybody, to Spokane City Council study session. I'm Lori Kinnear, the newly anointed council president. So thank you all for being here. First up on the list is the Regional Homeless Collaborative Update with Gavin Cooley and Rick Romero. So welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. Good to be here, as always. Providing an update and wanting to answer questions also. We've, since the last month, June 28th, we provided that overview of where we are and provided documents, an interlocal agreement, an enabling ordinance, and charter for this regional collaborative integrated approach to homelessness. And since that time, of course, that was a first pass, and of course, there's been a lot of questions, and we've been tracking a lot of those questions. We have our bi-weekly updates with members of this council, the County Board of Commissioners and the Valley, and a number of the smaller jurisdictions, and those continue to be productive. But we want to make sure that we show up as often as possible to full council, just to make sure we're answering all questions and responsive to the obvious needs that you have to fully understand where we're going with all this. So at our last bi-weekly meeting with the electeds, we presented a resolution which we were hoping could create some clarity on the process for answering questions. And so mostly what it was just a formalization of the interrelationship between us coming to the city, coming to the county, coming to the valley, finding out really answers to questions that many of you are asking. So you have questions about the finances, you have questions about legal aspects, you have questions about assumption of contracts, continuity of operations, all those kinds of things. And so that resolution is really just an attempt to formalize that. But I also want to say it's really just a mechanism to acknowledge it, because we've already had such great cooperation and working relationship with the staff. Kim McCollum is here, her staff, and the finance staff. It's all been working really well, even without the resolution. And we've had the same experience at the county. We've certainly had the same experience at the valley and the smaller jurisdictions. We spent a lot of time with all of them. So the resolution is a way to recognize that, but of course isn't essential to do that because it's already been happening. So I would say that's one aspect. We did put another date out there, October 15th, which we're hoping that we could have action on revised documents. We'd like to provide to you, listening to all the questions, concerns, comments, et cetera, come back to you with a revised interlocal agreement, come back to you with a revised charter. I think the enabling ordinance is pretty much, it'll stay the same as just putting it in place. But revise all those documents in response to all these conversations we're having and making sure that we're responsive and heading in the right direction that everybody feels good about. So a lot of that is just dialogue, updates, staying in touch with each other, but also hitting deadlines, because the October 15th, while not hard and fast, it recognizes that there's a lot of work to get done between now and year end when we would like to get the new approach adopted. And that simply is a function of trying to align with the budgetary cycle of the city and the county. We recognize there's a lot of fiscal year ends with the contracts, but we obviously have a calendar year end with the city and the county and the valley and the other jurisdictions. And just trying to create having the things in place that we need to have in place to really hit the ground running at the start of the year and really get after what we all agree needs to happen. And that's the one thing we've heard universally from the public, from the electeds, from all of you, that a regional, collaborative, integrated approach to addressing homelessness is the way to go. We've seen it across the country. It's come up with results that are where we would like to be as a city. We don't like being in the top 10 highest homelessness rates in the nation, as we are now in Spokane. While the rest of the nation is flat, we're up 36% in our January 2023 count. That's not where we want to be. So it's working towards a pivot towards, a better approach, but also wanting to respond to all your needs. So that's kind of a summary of where we are right now. And I think we'd just like to respond to questions and concerns and make sure that we're having that dialogue. Rick, do you want to add anything before?
No, thank you, Gavin. I think Gavin hit all my talking points. Appreciate that. I just want to add that in the outreach that we did during the due diligence period, it was really pretty evident to us that this is the community's biggest priority right now, and they do want to see some urgency in trying to address it. So we got a lot of positive feedback about trying to work together to do that, and that's really all we're trying to do with this resolution.
Councilmember Stratton.
I just have a couple questions. Gavin, I'm going to be really blunt and just ask.
Please.
I've received, probably in the last couple weeks, calls from people who are saying that there are already discussions about who is going to be the CEO of this group, and that offers have been put out there and discussions are happening. So I need
I'm glad
somebody.
this is coming up, because
Yeah, I need
if you could let
somebody
me
to
know who's
say-
having those conversations,
Okay.
or Rick, it'd be really helpful, yeah.
Well, just so you know, that word is out there, and there are 3 names that keep coming up that I'm getting phone calls on. So just know that those are happening.
I heard a
I've heard the
similar-
same with the board. Is there any truth to that you've identified individuals to be on the board?
No, and we've talked about formalizing a process, and I think really what that means is coming up with an application process for board and CEO, and really start to have a group conversation. I think that bi-weekly meeting with electeds would be a great place to start talking
Okay.
about those, and
So
then getting
no
them back here.
offers?
Oh,
no. Okay.
We've
Thank
used
you.
as an example, when people ask, because there are a lot of rumors. I had 2 reporters call me and say, we heard you've discontinued your efforts with the regional effort. And I was like, wow, I'm glad you're calling, because I hadn't heard that. So of course, in a big change initiative that affects so many people, there's going to be a lot of conversation, and oftentimes, information that just isn't correct. But no, we have made no offers or anything resembling that, or even had those kinds of conversations, and we would like to formalize that process.
Okay.
Have it with you.
And I just want to say also, that really is the purpose that we created the council and elected subgroup around. So we've got regional representatives from all of the councils and commissions. We meet every other Thursday, and we've been completely transparent with that group about all of our efforts, and certainly anything like that would start in that process before it went anywhere else. So, yeah, absolutely no truth to that.
Councilmember Stratton, I would like to say, when people have asked about that, because the rumors do get
Can
started.
I just have them call you?
Oh, please do. You've
Okay.
got my number. And one of them was, just as an example, I said, there's one of the 8 non-elected positions is public housing. And I said, as an example, one of the obvious places we would go is to talk to the CEO of that public housing organization, the Public Housing Authority here in Spokane. But that's not necessarily it. But I said, that's the kind of people you would talk to for that position. Just so it's not a left or right or, anything like that. It's, really trying to find subject matter expertise within each of those categories. But there's probably a great many people in each of those categories that would qualify. I think our biggest concern is, and we talked about this at the elected subgroup, is this is not that kind of fun board. I've been on a few where you show up and the food is good and the conversation's good, and then you go home. This is going to be a real heavy lift, and so we're a little worried about finding the really great people
Yeah.
that will be willing to do a 4-year term on such a difficult board, especially as we're getting launched.
And my biggest concern is that we keep the politics out of it. And I think you guys are really trying hard to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So my other question, and this is, again, you both know me, you know how my brain works. I worry about this October 15th date. I worry about the stress that's going to put on our CHHS staff. And I realize reading the resolution that that's spending time with that staff, it's getting answers, it's asking those questions. I just really worry, is it a problem if we move that to a November, we move it out a month just to give them some, right now they've got RFPs out, they're monitoring contracts, they are working hard, and I just hate to see this plopped on them with this, okay, you've got till October 15th to make these meetings, get this information, pull these stats. I worry about that.
So I would say we set that deadline pretty much more for ourselves to be able to give ourselves a goal to be able to respond to all of the questions and issues that arise. We're pretty confident, the three of us, that we can come back with a set of recommendations and even modified documents by that date that answer the questions. So I guess my answer to that would be let's shoot for that date, because we really do think urgency in this is
But
really
what
important.
is that going to, what are you going to need CHHS staff to do to get you that information? That's what kind of hours can you predict staff is going to have to put into
Right.
giving you this information?
So we think we're probably 85 to 90% of the way there with the due diligence work that we did. I think the challenge was that we were kind of in this situation where we had one foot in the tent and one foot outside of the tent, and so we didn't really have a clear path to ask for information that we needed. This is really just kind of giving us that pathway, and I honestly don't think it's going to be a huge commitment of time, and we will be very sensitive to working through leadership and staff to make sure that we aren't impacting anything that needs to get done. But we've got a pretty good idea of what a lot of the questions are right now. What the information we need is really going to be to respond to the questions and issues that you all have. And so, we've heard a lot of that back from a number of you already. So I think we can hit the ground running and be ready to address that in a responsible amount of time.
Councilmember Stratton. I want to build on that. I'd like some assurances that that date that you have isn't about a November election, that you're trying to get ahead of that.
We wanted, I think it's almost back to Councilmember Stratton's comment about politics. And so to the extent that it precedes the election, it's simply about stepping back from that political arena. But whether that's, you could argue that both ways on both sides of that date. So no, there's no real firm commitment to that other than to hold true to what Councilmember Stratton said, keep the politics out. And you're talking to somebody, all of us in this room have worked together on deadlines, and especially with the finance side. So as CFO of the city, you know how many deadlines would be set and how many we want to be methodical, as we're saying, but sometimes those deadlines don't quite work, and you're sitting there at the 11th hour on the last day, and you get it done. And in my world, that's more common than I ever wanted it to be, but we have that capacity as to flexibility. So thank you. Yeah.
Yep, and my big concern about this is that we get it right and that the right information is available. And I will say, and I've said this before, at the last big community event, we did have one of the three of you talk about, those pots of money and we can move money, and I think that made people really nervous. And so when you're talking HUD funding and 1590 funding and all those sources of funding, that can be complicated. You know that.
Yeah, we know that from the utility side that Rick
right.
comes from.
And so when you have somebody that publicly says, we can use this money and we can move it here, and I think it alerted us that I want this done right, and it may take a lot of staff time to make sure that all that factual information and how this stuff works is available. So that's part of my fear.
Yeah, I think we're in a complete agreement on that. If that was me or one of us came across that way, that would have been a misstatement on our part, because we do understand those pots of money and the statutory and regulatory restrictions.
It wasn't you guys, but thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
I remember
very important
eyes,
distinction.
I just remember eyes going, wait, it's not that simple.
We all want to stay out of jail, so.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do, with the staff, I think, the two in here, Kim McCollum and others, and that have worked with us, know they keep up with us on how much pressure is being put on them.
So you're talking to them about this, and
Nicolette Ochiltree, for instance, they're coming to our regular meetings. Matt Boston also, so we're very careful of that. We've lived on that side.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I've got a few questions. I guess first on the funding side, since that was the last thing we talked about. So my understanding is that you guys are hoping to have some commitment, if not actual funds, kind of transferred by kind of the start of this, which would presumably be kind of the start of '24. Is that what you're shooting for?
So, great question. When we initially presented the proposal and the documents, we presented, so let me just run through real quickly. The charter document and the resolution document that we provided are actually to create the regional authority. The interlocal agreement then is the tool that would move the dollars and contracts and staff to the regional authority. So the way we wrote those is we basically wrote the charter and resolution with the language that we thought was appropriate to create the regional entity, but we used a lot of intent statements in the interlocal that said that our intent is to look at these dollars and work through these issues. So I think we may still have intent statements when we get to the next round of this, because we may be working on this for 18 months, I don't know. But our goal is to get as many things nailed down as we can and as few intent statements in those documents when we present them to you again.
So I guess my concern and why I bring that up is obviously some of those funds have multiple purposes and can be used for different things. The city's in the midst of a pretty steep budget challenge right now, and we have to kind of think about all those pieces. But the other is, at least from the presentation and the documentation that's come out so far from the regional discussions, is suggesting that we should continue to carry what I would consider to be the region's shelter, frankly, track, that we should continue to carry that for a year while also giving up all of these funds that are barely paying to keep it open right now. And it doesn't seem like that could work at all for us or you guys. And so I'm just curious, is that what you see is what will happen? Or how are you guys thinking about that?
That's what we see, I think, Councilman, as the issues that need to get reconciled. And as Council President Kinnear said to me on the way in, it's always about the money, and we know that. And we recognized when we made the recommendations, we really had two choices. I mean, we could start really narrow with this and bring something forward that wasn't truly integrated and perhaps even could have gotten approved and passed. But it wouldn't have achieved our objective, which is to really bring the behavioral health and the affordable housing and the homelessness issues together and solve them concurrently. So we decided to go out here and put the boundaries on the outside, understanding that we're probably going to have to have some reconciliation and discussion about pieces of that. But we felt like it was better to start there and work inward rather than start small and then try to push it back out. And so we're ready and willing to have those conversations.
Okay. My second question, also agree on the dates and things. Not quite sure how that's going to work out. I feel like it's going to get extended, and we may as well just extend it now. But one of the things that you're asking for is data. And it's a little frustrating for me just because we have struggled to get access to that data that you guys are requesting. And so what I'm wondering is long-term, to the extent that you can comment or commit, do you believe that there could be a reciprocal agreement with council, not necessarily the city, but with council, that any data that is shared, we would also be able to get data back with council, detailed data that we could analyze and look at?
I'll let Gavin respond as well, but I think what we're bringing to this is your frustration is real and getting data within one jurisdiction. We're attempting to get data across multiple jurisdictions so that we can look at the whole picture. Our total objective and goal is, when we have that, to share it with everyone. I mean, there's no intent here to keep anything that we know or understand away from anyone. And that's, quite frankly, a huge part of the purpose of what we're trying to do here.
I'm just realizing how challenging it is for us to get access to it, as you said, in the single jurisdiction.
Yep.
And once we have this, what could, hopefully not, but could become a behemoth of a bureaucracy, will that data even be harder to access, and will it be more hidden? And so those are the concerns I have. I want to make sure that at the start of this, there's some kind of an agreement that says, hey, we will share all of that data.
And that should be a strong agreement. I mean, transparency is our greatest friend, and especially if we don't have transparency with the very jurisdictions all parts of those jurisdictions as it created it in the first place, we've really made a huge mistake. So I couldn't agree more.
And my last question, I've got a lot more detailed ones, but just more of a 50,000-foot view. In your mind, how will this system, once it's set up, truly be a cost savings in terms of trying to address homelessness overall? And two, how will it truly be regional? Is it going to be regional in funding, or will it actually be regional in programming?
You mean location, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think coming out
And
of-
without using the STA example, please.
Yes, please. We've heard that one. Yeah, I think there's a true intent at both the city and the county in particular to have regional formation and regional planning and policy and a truly integrated approach to homelessness. And that's consistently been the message. And I think some of the, maybe in particular the Spokane Valley, I think we'll be building trust over a period of time. So I don't want to make promises on behalf of that jurisdiction because that trust-building relationship isn't just around homelessness. It's something that
It's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things. And so we'll be doing everything we can to build that trust and work towards regionalization in the fullest extent possible. But I think there'll be trust building in some cases.
But the first part of my question, you do believe that this would represent a cost savings in how we address homelessness overall?
The interesting thing is, as far as cost savings, after 2 weeks in Houston and visiting with the 3-term mayor prior, the current mayor, and others, and talking to other jurisdictions extensively, in every case, the ones that are performing well talk about how you take and you connect existing resources and you get so much more out of it. So many of you were a part of, moving our double-digit utility rate increases to 2.9% using the same resources. Cleaning up the river and saving $150 million over prior projections using the same resources and a lot less. So it lands somewhere in there, but it's the same thought, the integration fundamentally being the secret and the secret sauce. And both mayors in Houston said they always show up wanting to know what we're doing differently than other jurisdictions, and they want this program or that program. And they said, we can give examples, but it always just comes down to how we collaborate and how we integrate. That's how we create these efficiencies. So, yeah, we've had examples like saving $150 million, moving the double-digit rates down to 2.9%, but until you get the hood up and really start creating that integration, I don't think we knew we could do that until we actually saw the moving pieces and started doing the work. But it always ends up that way somehow.
But we're going to have to move on, but I just wanted to say to Councilmember Stratton, one of the things that came out of the discussion, instead of further burdening our staff, would be to hire project managers for a period of time so that they can do a lot of the stuff that our staff could do, but are doing other things. So there are options. It's not that we have to use our staff, and nobody wants to burden our staff.
And we did change the language in the resolution
Yes,
to
you did.
try to make it much more
Yes.
flexible
Yes, you
so
did.
that we can work together, and that's our goal.
Indeed. Thank you.
All right.
I
Thank you so
appreciate you
much.
guys coming down. Thanks so much.
Thank you, and we're available at all times. I love the opportunity and appreciate the
Yeah,
opportunity to come
and
down.
we all have your phone number. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to ARPA project updates. Caleb Stanton, you want to talk to us about this?
All right. Caleb Stanton, City ARPA team. I think you guys all know Michelle Murray, Matt Boston. Vlad is not here today, but he's also on the team. Today we just wanted to bring the 5 ARPA projects that we have running in the community that we're monitoring here to give you an update on all the really neat things that they're doing in the community. So it's going to be pretty fun. They're going to take it away. I did give a little just quick oversight paper on each of those projects. Did you guys get that? Do you want that?
So,
I just distributed that to
Okay,
everybody.
perfect.
Did you email?
That way you have an idea, just in case you need a little jog of memory of what the projects are. Before they take it away, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns for me? Otherwise, they're going to come take it away. CME, you guys are up first.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Nelson Lloyd. I am the Early Learning Initiative Project Coordinator and for Community Minded Enterprises. And presenting with me today is Kira Bauer from Little Scholars Development Center and a steering committee member. We've developed a steering committee for this project, which includes members with diverse backgrounds, a foothold in multiple industries and career paths. This consists of our CME program staff, childcare professionals, fathers, video production experts, people of color, all gathering collective knowledge with access to a large pool of community partners to support this grant work. Our grant has 5 prongs. Our first is our family tuition grant. It benefits our middle-income families by offering at 25% of their child care being paid for up to 3 months. We have $830,000 to distribute tuition assistance to over 1,000 children. Our application is up and running. We've already had families apply and received child care assistance funds, which is really exciting for us. Our flyers are being, as you see up there, are being distributed to families that qualify by our local child care providers, our neighborhood action programs, our community partners at local community events, and posted on social media. Exciting news that just happened yesterday. We are in contact with the family engagement team at Spokane Public Schools, and we are anticipating that the family tuition flyer will be up on their website and their social media shortly. Our second prong is our KinSide app. It is a business management platform for childcare providers and families, and this is an enrollment and recruitment system utilizing a shared services model that focuses on reducing the time childcare providers spend on staff hours and allow them to focus their time and energy on the children, so on the kiddos. Families can access the KinSide to find current openings, sign up for a wait list, pay their tuition online, and schedule a tour with childcare sites. KinSide manages the wait list for the childcare provider, so they can contact the family the moment a spot comes available. Our goal is to pay for 150 licensed childcare sites to register and use the KinSide app. Recruitment has recently started for that. Our provider retention assistance will assist our childcare providers in retaining staff and promoting increase in their current workforce by providing funds for employee retention bonuses, sign-on bonuses, and retention activities. We have $2 million to distribute to licensed childcare sites for these activities in the city of Spokane. Our application and marketing materials will be available in August. We also have a research component. We're working with Eastern Washington University to measure these outcomes. This is important to learn how retention funds impact our child care staffing and recruitment processes. Our video production component, I am going to turn that over to Kira Bauer for more information.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to come and talk to you about the amazing work that we are doing with these ARPA dollars that couldn't have come at a better time. So one of the things that we know about childcare and those that are in childcare is that so often the work that we do is overlooked. It isn't considered, we're not considered teachers, we're considered babysitters in a lot of spaces. And parents and community members often just get a snapshot of what it means to be a child care provider. You drop your child off, there's a snapshot. The classroom can be a little chaotic in the morning, kids coming in, not wanting to leave their parents, so on and so forth. You pick your child up directly, typically right after nap time or shortly thereafter, and there's another snapshot of your day. And we are forgetting that the people that are caring for those that are most important to us are human as well. They're not robots who happen to be childcare whisperers or child whisperers. They're people, they're humans who happen to love little humans and want to educate. And so with that in mind, the idea and that the thought is that we need to really create a new narrative of what it means to be a child care provider. And so we are going to be doing producing a documentary called The Day in the Life of a Child Care Provider. What that looks like is following child care providers from around our city, into their homes. What does it look like when you have a brand new baby yourself and you're nursing and you're getting up in the middle of the night? Maybe you're dealing with postpartum. You've got to get up, and maybe you have 2 or 3 toddlers and a newborn. You've got to get up, you've got to get them ready, you've got to take them to childcare. Maybe they're not even at the childcare center that you work at. We're going to follow them with cameras so that we can see what that looks like. What does it look like to get up in the middle of the night and then have to show up at 7 o'clock in the morning and run a classroom of 14 2-year-olds? And then the parent drops off, and then they come to pick up at the end of the day, and what happens all between that day. Why is this video important? This video is important because we need to humanize the child care provider. We need to understand that when the governor got up and asked us to stay open while the school districts closed, there was a reason for that. This work is important. This work is intentional, and the people that are doing the work are doing amazing things, but they need more support. So as we come to city council, and as we go to the county, and as we come to state legislators, it's important that you are able to see what it looks like to be a child care provider and provide those supports. For the timeline, within the next couple of weeks, we are going to start storyboarding. We will begin interviewing in August with 3 confirmed centers, 2 confirmed, 1 that we're still waiting to hear confirmation back, so Little Scholars, Parkview, and potentially Lilac City, where we will be interviewing the teachers, we'll be interviewing some of the administrative staff, and then we'll be doing those interviews between July and November of 2023. We're expecting the first video to be ready for viewing by spring of 2024. And then there's a second component, because you've heard all of the wonderful work that we're doing. And as we're putting funding into child care centers and into these providers that need it, we also want to be able to highlight the work that's being done and the benefits of that work. And so we'll go back in 2024 and we'll reactivate those that participated in the documentary, and we'll capture, along with the research with Eastern, and the just kind of seeing what the retention was with the providers and what the impact overall was. And then that second video will be available for viewing spring of 2025. And that is the work that we're doing.
We've got about 2 minutes for questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for the work that you're doing, and this is great that the program's put together and moving. Do we know how many have applied so far, and how many with the metrics that we're using this would be able to sustain?
Right now, we just started up our application process, and this last week I got 7. We have had a few others come in, but we were unable to approve their applications due to age, or being eligible for Working Connections childcare. And we are hoping to serve 1,000 kiddos.
Very good. Well, if you guys can get me just a digital copy of that, I'd be happy to help share that
I
as well.
actually have
So
a hard copy. Are you talking about the?
I'll take the hard copy too,
Yeah.
but if you want to email me a copy of that, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Councilmember
we can
Cathcart,
do
that's
that.
in the email that I distributed
Oh,
too.
perfect. Thank you.
All of these presentations.
Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for this presentation. It was very impressive. And next time you come down, bring some 2-year-olds with you. We need more 2-year-olds in this chamber.
I'll bring
So-
my kiddo.
That's it.
We do want to thank you for supporting this project and uplifting local communities and supporting our child care system.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming down. Who's next? Welcome.
Well, good morning, council members. It's nice to be in front of you again. My name is Mike Ankney. I'm with the Inland Northwest AGC Apprenticeship Programs, and you have so graciously funded our Head Start to Construction pre-apprenticeship program several times, and we appreciate the continued support. With the ARPA dollars that were awarded recently, it was to work with a specific demographic, and those were previously incarcerated individuals. Excuse me. We started this particular project with our first class in January of 2023. So this year so far, we have run four cohorts, so 4 classes. As you're aware of, that we are 6-week-long classes, and with a recruitment week in between. And so we've run fourth so far this year, and I'm happy to say that we have served 22 individuals specifically with the ARPA dollars. With our other dollars that we get from you, our classes have been larger than that. We've had like 45 to 50 in those classes. What I'll say is through our partnerships that we have developed and some other partnerships that have been developed just here recently, our recruitment numbers and class sizes have started to grow. And a lot of that is due, in fact, to the fact that with the ARPA dollars, we were able to offer more of a stipend for the individuals. Other grantees are allowing stipends also, but now we're able to offer these individuals who may still be, well, they're actually, most of them are still under some type of supervision. They're in halfway houses or at Oxford House or something like that. But instead of not having any type of income, they at least get something, okay? And so with that in mind, we've seen our class sizes grow some, okay? Some partnerships that we've formed with some of the shelters and also our DOC partners have really, really helped out with the recruitment on individuals that way. Really, I don't have much of a real fancy report. I mean, I'm more of a question-answer guy, but a couple things for those council members, and I realize we have a couple that you're nearing your time is coming close to an end. I would encourage you to come to another graduation. They're very moving. Something that we've started doing is we elect a valedictorian, and they get up in the student. When you hear the student speakers speak, believe it or not, Council President Kinnear, Councilmember Stratton, you've been with us from day one. Believe it or not, we're on our 40th class. And when a student speaker gets up and speaks, I am 40 for 40, shedding tears. Yeah. It's very, very moving. Some of the things that are said, one student in particular gets up and says, for the first time in his life, the Head Start program is the first thing he's ever completed besides a prison sentence. He's now able to tell his kids, yes, we can go to McDonald's because of the job placement. As you know, our jobs in the construction industry pay very, very well. I'd also like to thank the city of Seattle, the city of Spokane. I don't know why I had Seattle on my mind, but city of Spokane, because they've put their money where their mouth is too. We have a lot of individuals that have gone to work for the Public Works Department, the seasonal rec jobs, and those are providing living wage careers for our individuals that have taken our program. Other things that you hear is we've changed lives. You know, people are now able to afford home ownership through partnerships that we have with Habitat for Humanity. Just looking at the list here, I mean, I'm going to be contacting Numerica with their down payment assistance because our students, our clientele that comes through, they're there. They're ready for that, to make that leap because they get a job where they can make a living wage career. They're advancing through the apprenticeship programs. They're just doing some great things. That's all I got. Oh, I did want to mention that Michelle, Caleb, and Vlad are wonderful to work with. We have monthly meetings with at least two of the three, and they've been just very helpful.
We think they are too.
So,
Thank you. Go ahead.
I have a question, and you're
No.
right, you just said no. I used to go to a lot of those graduations, and now they conflict with a committee I'm on, but I will try and make one before I'm done.
okay.
My question is, when I used to go to a lot of those, I loved the, once in a while, we'd have the all-female groups. Are you still doing that, or do you have an idea of how many females are participating or that you're graduating?
Great question. So we were able to do those all-female classes due to a grant from the Women Helping Women Fund.
Okay.
Okay. Since then, we've not been able to secure those funds.
Okay.
But we have found that we're still running 25 to 30% female.
Good.
Okay. One thing I do want to mention is with the ARPA dollars and with this particular dealing with the justice-involved individuals, there's been a lot of lessons learned. Okay. And some of the lessons that we've learned is that the individuals come and take our class, and what we find is maybe they're not quite work ready yet when they graduate, meaning they still have maybe some court-ordered treatment they have to do. They still may have some justice-involved court dates that they have to attend and things like that. And so they're actually unable to work a 40-hour work week. And so what we do with those individuals is, hey, we try to get them into our other partners that can help them with their situation, with their barriers, or we try to help them with that to get them the time that they need to work on themselves, so when they are ready to go to work, that they can commit to the 40 to 60-hour work week that construction people work. So.
And then do you still have a program that helps them get their driver's licenses back
Absolutely.
and all of that?
We
Perfect.
use community partnerships
'Cause
with
that's
that.
been
the way
really
to justice.
helpful.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. You know, we've, what I'll say is over the course of the 8 years we've been doing this, the partnerships that have been formed and the organizations that have come and we've partnered with for barriers, for homelessness, for anything like that. And just something to throw out to wrap up here is we've also been contacted by other cities and saying, what do we need to do to get you here to help our individuals out in the pre-apprenticeship programs? Because we are seeing success.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all you do. I'm glad that it's
Thank you.
been successful.
Thank you.
Councilmember, okay. Mike, thanks so much. And you're
you.
right, those, just watching people and hearing their stories, it's very moving, and I appreciated that.
Great.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
Right. Who is next? Lars. Our favorite banker.
No, credit union, owned by our members.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. Thank you. And are you controlling or am I controlling?
Go ahead and you can advance the slides with the keyboard or the mouse.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Lars Gilbert's here with Numerica and my colleague, Selma Hanna. We're going to do a brief overview of the program just to make sure that you have the fresh details in your brain. And again, for us, we're baking some of our DNA into how we do this down payment assistance. We're committed to enhancing lives, fulfilling dreams, building communities. Not everybody's going to be ready for the fulfilling the dream of homeownership. So are we still enhancing their life with credit building, financial education? Are we showing up in the community with the relationships with community partners, but also cultivating our next future leaders in our community in how we're developing the community? The program itself is providing up to 20 to 25% down payment assistance for, I was wondering what that was, for first-time home buyers that are buying in the city of Spokane. And we can share some more data on kind of who we're seeing coming through this. I'm going to try to keep my presentation as short as possible to leave room for questions. And then part of this is not just the direct assistance, but it really was, as we proposed, we wanted to be able to hire someone that can be able to develop skills that could actually change the face and the skill set of financial institutions in the future to better be able to support the community. So brief update. As you know, getting these contracts signed and executed and everything, all the T's crossed, I's dotted, and on top of that, home buying is a lengthy process. But even with all of that starting and ramping up pretty quickly, we got out there, started meeting with community partners. We've done 6 events so far. Even we didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. We never want to hurt someone, leave them worse off. So we wanted to ramp up to make sure that we were working with city staff to have everything ready to go. And we got that in place. But we've been actively working with over 30 community partners, but also professionals in the community that are BIPOC realtors, et cetera, that actually have some of the trust and connections. So we've been very, 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 very targeted in this, and we've been pretty pleased with the results. Results so far, beyond, we've been reaching out, and I've seen several of you at community events that you've seen us out there sharing information about this. So we've been meeting with, we're probably getting close to 500-600 people that we've talked with directly about this beyond the sharing through the partners, and that's led to about 24 people currently being coached, because not everybody's ready to buy a home right now. And we've got 5 families that have their applications in underwriting at some point. And 2 days ago, we had our first family, a family of 8 that was in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Oh, dear.
Right, and that are now in a 4-2. this is changing people's lives. And so what we can speak of for all the people that are in this, they're representing one or more of these different groups. So when you had the intention of, we wanted to look at, there's communities that have a third the ownership rate of kind of the majority population. People that have been left behind as the city has grown, as there have been opportunities. We've been intentional in the relationships, and it's coming through in who we're actually being able to serve. And again, housing is a well-regulated thing, so we can't discriminate, we can't exclude. So it's through relationships that we get to welcome people in. And Mike, happy to serve anybody that we possibly can, because we want to have people. And I'm really excited, actually, some of the nonprofit workers, because so oftentimes people in the partners that we work with are a half step above the communities they're serving, and who's helping them. So that's one of the first groups that we've worked with, people that have stabilized in the nonprofits, because if we can show them that this is possible, they can show it to their clients. And so we've got a number of people that are in that position right now. For us, the next steps, Selma is on board, and she is reaching out. Now that all the pieces are moving together, we have that first loan closed. We're actively building new relationships, because we didn't want to bring on new partners without being able to guarantee that the process was working smoothly. We're in a good place on that. We've got 2 credit building or rebuilding tools that I'd come and shared with you, I think last year about, that are up and operating. We're going to be providing in community partners to help people access credit. So even if it's not for home ownership, that you need credit to be able to afford a rental more affordably, to get car insurance, et cetera. We want people's lives to be better off. And this is a long-term commitment. There are people that the family that just closed, they've been working for 1.5 years to be ready for this. And this came together at just the right time. There was 4 programs that got layered together to make this possible for them. We're working with other partners that, there's layering for people with disabilities and other things that homeownership might not otherwise be possible for, that we're trying to make it possible. So we're absolutely trying to ramp up, but we're also looking for other funding. So if you see or hear or want to partner with us to expand this program to serve more people, we're absolutely looking to do that. Any questions?
Questions for, okay. Councilmember Stratton? Oh, go ahead.
Just to clarify, so we had talked about this, I think, at the Juneteenth event, but I had heard some concerns from the zone regarding just how the program had been shaped at that time. And maybe you could just, for folks who maybe think it's still that way, you could clarify kind of what you've done.
Absolutely. So just to clarify, because I think there's definitions and definitions. To be very clear, a down payment assistance is based on the purchase price of the home. And so when we talk about 20 or 25%, so 20% would be for a family that's buying a new home that's ready to move in, that if it is a $300,000 home, this could qualify for up to $60,000. The max of the cap is on this is $80,000. We can talk about affordability right now, and it's heart-wrenching. But we work to make sure that it's affordable. So when we talk about this percentage, it's a significant amount. It's not 20% of a lower amount. It's 20% of the purchase price. And one of the things that we built into the program, up to 25%, that oftentimes those homes that need some help, it needs a new roof, it needs HVAC, something that make it a great investment opportunity, but a lousy opportunity for a first-time home buyer that puts them in a difficult situation. I know of a family that bought a home, and then 2 systems went out and they weren't able to live in the home. We never want that to happen for people. So that 25% is for a home that needs some TLC, that we can do up to 5% more to help them get that home live ready, and that it's more cost effective so that they don't have to lose the home. So, yes.
Go ahead.
If, I'm just thinking about as I travel around in my district, if I want to encourage somebody to look into this, who would they contact, and what's a good way to contact them?
So we can, Linda Dean would be one of the go-to. She would be here. She was under the weather, didn't want to expose anybody to anything.
Okay.
But Linda, myself, Selma, any of us, I think
Okay.
you've got my cell phone too. So
I know where to find you. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. We want to make it easy, and we're happy to go. So one of the things we'll meet people where they are. Like Marshallese community has been a historically underserved community. We go out to the churches, to the Bible studies, where oftentimes that is a great place for that community. Whatever the community, wherever the person, we're happy to meet them where they are.
Have you been invited to any neighborhood council meetings by any chance?
We haven't been invited to that. We've been into the community centers,
Okay.
but we haven't been there because partly we've been kind of trying to do a little bit slightly under the radar.
Okay.
Because one of the things we want to avoid is when, we want to make this a difference for people that but for this would not be able to buy a home. There's a lot of people, they can buy a home fine. This would be free money for them. We can't say no to them. That's illegal for us to decline them. And so that's why we've been,
Okay,
like
that
even like
makes
with Lisa
sense.
Gardner's asked us, hey, do you want to do us some publicity? Like, we'd like relationships. We will present wherever people want. If they called us in, we would absolutely present,
Okay.
but we haven't sought that opportunity
I
out
get that.
necessarily.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, say that again, so you can't decline anybody?
So the good and the bad, it's like we live in the system that we live in. It's perfectly designed to get the results that we're getting. And so the housing system historically has been racist, has been misogynist. And so HUD has made some standards to protect against some of those things. But that means also then some of these interventions also can't be discriminatory or excessively targeted.
So there's not an income level that,
You can absolutely do an income level, but if there's a CEO of the largest company in the community that their child wants to buy a home and they qualify for the income, and mom and dad can give them $100,000 to buy a home, like, oh no, we don't do that. Go get the government's money. And so the person that has no support, they're on the same footing legally. And so we're trying to make this as available as possible to someone that doesn't have those familial opportunities.
okay, I get it. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you. This was good information.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Great program. All right, Spokane Arts. Next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shelley Weinkoop. I'm the Grants Administrator for Spokane Arts, and we've received $1 million from the city's $81 million ARPA allocation. And what we are doing with that is we are making direct disaster relief benefit payments available to individuals and households, nonprofits and businesses, and performing arts venues within the creative arts and cultural arts sectors here in Spokane. So up to this point, we have got a timeline up for you. We've been doing heavy public outreach. Starting in May, we got out into the community centers and to some of our local arts providers to get the word out about what we were doing. We've got 3 different portals that have all just closed for our first round now. So we have now allocated about $135,000 to individuals and households, up to $2,500 for households. For the businesses and nonprofits, they can receive up to $10,000 in support, and for the larger performing arts venues, they can receive up to $25,000 in support. So we had our first round of individual applications come in on June 15th. July 15th, we just had close our 2 portals, one for the nonprofits and businesses and the other for the performing arts venues. The payments for the individuals in first round are going to be going out here pretty quickly. One thing I do want to say about our individual support for coming in for this benefit, we've had a lot of help from the community. HBPA and EHF, through their Equitable Economies program, have provided a lot of one-on-one support for our applicants. And also internally in Spokane Arts, we have walked alongside a lot of our more needy and maybe not so technologically savvy households who needed some help getting access to the funding. So now where we're at is anything that we have not allocated from those first 3 tranches, we'll be opening up a second round in November and allocating the remainder of those funds for individuals and for businesses at this point. What we've learned so far is that our lower income households have been significantly more impacted by the pandemic than those earning more based on 2019 income. Our lowest earners sometimes have realized impacts up to 300% what they earned in 2019. So the amount of funding that we can provide to the households is a huge relief to a lot of our applicants. We've also found that households with members age 65 plus were more severely impacted as well. Those were the 2 demographics that really saw the hardest hit. So our average reported unreimbursed impact from individuals and households was about 27% of what they brought in 2019. This is significant, obviously. The people hardest hit were those gig workers, people who work arts fairs, people who do performances, these types of things, especially on a more piecemeal basis than as part of a salaried role. At this point, we have 64 eligible applicants for individual and household payments. We have obligated 67% of the $200,000 available to those applicants. We are looking at obligating about 87% of the $600,000 going to businesses and nonprofits, and it appears that we will be fully allocating the $120,000 for the performing arts venues. We ranked our individual and household applicants by a number of federal criteria. So those who the feds believed were more severely impacted were ones that we prioritized in terms of the highest levels of funding for individuals and households. Some of those criteria were low and moderate income families, residents within qualified census tracts, race and gender identities, senior status, essential worker status, and disability or blindness. It turns out that those criteria really fit our population very well. And we found that we were able to allocate more than 2/3 of our household funds to low-income households. Also, 55% of our applicants for the individual and household category were federally categorized as low-income households. Our benefit amounts, again, 55% qualified as low income and received the full amount of the benefit for households, which is $2,500. And then that went down from there to moderate income households or moderately impacted households who received about $1,500. And then we had a couple outliers who did not have very large impacts or had very large 2019 baselines for their salary, and they received $1,000 or something less than $1,500. So our next steps, given the number of nonprofit and business applicants that we just brought in, it looks like we are going to be reopening the application portal for that group of applicants on November 1st. We will also be opening the portal for individuals at that time as well. It's yet to be seen whether we will need to reopen for performing arts venues, but we should know that here within the next couple weeks. Okay, any questions? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just so looking at the distribution, I mean, it little geographically inequitable in terms of the districts, and so I'm just wondering, is there going to be a big emphasis, particularly on Northeast, with this second round? I mean, we're half of District 2 and, you know, maybe a third of District 3. I just, you know, we are so under-resourced, under-supported. What is going to be the emphasis to catch that up?
Yeah, the locality of our information sessions. So we've been going out into the community, as you can see by that initial timeline. We'll be focused much more heavily on the Northeast section for sure. We'll be doing additional, we've along the entire way we've done additional language support, but we will be focusing more specifically on what those needs look like there. And of course, we will have that one-on-one help for individuals and households. It's yet to see exactly how this falls out in terms of data for the other tranches, for the nonprofits and businesses and performing arts venues. I think we have a pretty good idea. But we'll keep you updated on that too.
And then just one other clarifying question. You've got the distribution broken down by individuals and then business. And I'm just curious, if an individual has just their own individual LLC, are they classified as a business, or is that kind of as their own individual work? Like, how is that getting parsed?
Well, we're kind of working with each individual case because sometimes they may find that they can get more of a benefit coming in as a household as opposed to coming in as a sole proprietor. So right now we're looking at a few cases where we're trying to figure out which tranche they should come in on, but not both. You get to choose one.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Stratton, anything?
This is great.
Okay.
You guys do great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Right. Who is next? Inovia. Welcome. Let's get one for Betsy, too. Thank you.
Good morning, Council President Kinnear,
morning.
members of the council, staff. My name is Ben Small, Executive Director of Launch Northwest, an initiative of the Innovia Foundation. With me is our CEO, Shelley O'Quinn. Imagine if an entire community came together to ensure that every child had both the supports and the access to their post-high school education and career of choice. That's the mission of Launch Northwest. And it's a community mission, and it's a mission that we believe is vitally important to the success and the trajectory of our communities in Spokane County, and especially today as we talk about the city of Spokane. Just imagine if every child traveled their best journey to their post-high school education and career. And what I mean by that is, what if we took the barriers away and allowed children to choose that pathway? If they wanted to go into the trades to be a plumber, we said, how are we going to get you there? If they wanted to go to a four-year university, we said, how are we going to get you there? And our entire community did that. And so much right now, we're into this, I think, conversation about which is better. And we need to just say and we need to focus that on our children. So if you're going to take on that big, audacious mission, you need to listen. And we've tried to listen a lot to this community. And your support has allowed us to hold town halls across this county, and specifically in Spokane. Your support has allowed us to create a planning committee that then populated a leadership council that is leading the efforts of Launch Northwest and distributing money into this community, or will be distributing money into this community, targeted around what that leadership council believes is the biggest challenges that our young people face as they travel their journey of birth through career attainment. What that means is, we got to listen to 60 high school students tell us what their barriers were and what they were excited about. And when you listen to 60 high school students, you better be prepared to hear the brutal truth, their honesty from their perspective. And it was so amazing to hear them talk about what they needed as a community. So what are the backbone things? The foundational pieces you have in front of you, a membership list of our Spokane County Leadership Council. That's the foundation of what it is that we're doing, working with people to understand our community. There are some other foundational pieces that I want to talk about. Foundational pieces such as an asset map of the entire Spokane County. We have contracted with Gonzaga Center for Education, or Center for Community Engagement, to create a GIS asset map where somebody can go onto their phone and look for mental health counseling, and the phone will direct them to the mental health counseling services closest to their neighborhood. That map can also tell us where areas are missing in this community. Where are food banks missing? If a family wanted to know about after-school programs, they could get into this app and find out where those after-school programs are. That is one of the areas that we have invested in. A data dashboard that tracks a student from that early learning all the way through career attainment and actually job attainment. That dashboard includes data sharing agreements with all 13 Spokane County school districts. We will be able to show a student when they enter kindergarten all the way through graduation and the points along that pathway. We will be able to tell as an entire community where there are pinch points along that pathway. I've been a superintendent in this region for about 14 years, and I've never found all 13 county school districts to come together on much of anything, but we did on this because we know how important it is. We have a scholarship management system, and that management system will be able to allow us to start interacting with students in the middle school to figure out where it is that they want to go, to get them information about career pathways, to get them information about what opportunities and financial aid is available to them. We have completed or started a FAFSA completion campaign. A FAFSA completion campaign, if you know statistics, the state of Washington has probably one of the most generous college grants in the United States. And we're 49th out of 50 in filling out the paperwork in order to get that grant. Translate that into 70% of the jobs available in the state of Washington will require some form of post-high school education. And we have 50% of the children in our communities filling out the paperwork in order to get the money in order to pursue that. Your dollars have absolutely supported that. We are creating and building out the Spokane Public Schools early warning system that will be used for Launch Northwest to be able to track interventions with children to see how those interventions are being effective. And that will be available countywide. Your money is an investment is helping us do that. Those are the backbone. That's the foundational pieces as we move forward. That Spokane County Leadership Council that I've showed you has set some target areas for us. And those target areas include areas of challenge. Early learning, birth to 5, is an area that we are very concerned about. Last year in Spokane Public Schools, 29% of children entered kindergarten ready to learn on 5 of the 6 domains measured by the WaKids assessment. Countywide, it's 44%. We have to do better as a community to support our young people as they enter school. So we've got an early learning task force that is taking a look at what it is that we might be able to do to improve that statistic. We also have a mental health task force. I'll go back. That early learning task force is chaired by Stephanie Courtney from the Learning Project, Amy Vega from Vanessa Behan, and also Jen Hansen from Spokane County. We have a mental health task force. That mental health task force, youth mental health, is chaired by David Crump, Dr. David Crump, who is with Spokane Public Schools, Mary Cuney, Commissioner, and Deborah Robb from Communities and Schools. And they're looking at ways that we can intervene earlier and not be reactive to youth mental health in this community. When we take a look at the data around youth mental health in 2013, there were 59 of our young people attempted or committed suicide in Spokane County. And our last number is 359 in 2021. We know we have concerns and we have problems, and we need to start addressing those. Then we have also very active a task force on that post-high school to post-high school transition piece. And that high school to post-high school transition is led by Shannon DeMont of College Success Foundation, Scott Kerwin of Spokane Public Schools, and also Lori Wyberney, who we all know as doing tremendous work at Rogers High School as she is retired. She's joined us to work with that group. That group is looking at how is it that we lose kids from when they graduate or start to get to the end of their journey and then they can't figure out what to do next. And we need to help our kids, young people, understand what it is that they can do next. We also have some work groups. We have a mentoring work group. That mentoring work group has targeted a mentoring campaign and a structure that will allow a one-stop mentoring program where somebody who wants to get involved can come to a one-stop and say, I would like to get involved in mentoring in Spokane Public Schools. How do I do that? And then we move them through the system so that they can get to work with our young people. We know that across this birth to career attainment pathway, we need adults in the lives of our kids that are outside of the family. And we need to be able to attract those kids or those mentors and volunteers as we move forward. We also have a fiscal analytics work group, and we're looking at where money is coming into the community, into the city, into the county that serves children, and how might we braid funding together in order to create sustainable programming that once wasn't serving kids and how we can serve kids. Those are the things that are the investment is in that kind of that not the foundational piece, but that implementation piece and moving forward. Each of our task forces have a $5,000 operating budget and a budget of about $250,000 to start putting pilot programs into place this fall. Our high school to post-high school transition task force asked us to fund summer melt programs across the entire region, because we know that summer melt is when a kid who says, I'm going to go to Spokane Falls or I'm going to go to Eastern, and then they may even have a schedule, and comes fall, they don't show up because they're working and they've found a job, and it's really cool to make $17 an hour. And they don't understand that $17 an hour over a lifetime is not going to be what they want. And then one of the programs that we are absolutely ecstatic about is the Empower, Launch Northwest Empower mentoring program. M meaning mentoring power. And we believe that we can put mentors with our children, especially as they are deciding what to do beyond high school, that we can change their trajectory. And so we have 7 schools in that pilot. North Central and Shadle Park in the city of Spokane are part of that pilot. Along with coordinators and mentors being placed at those schools, we also have case managers from Family Promise who will be working on housing insecurity across a family. And our ARPA dollars that you invested in us are going towards those programs. Those programs will place peer-to-peer mentors. We know that a student may respond to another student. It's going towards near-peer mentors from Eastern Washington University, Gonzaga, and Whitworth. And it's going towards adult mentors who will be working with those students as well. And then finally, we want to really pilot family-to-family mentors. How do families of first-generation students who have just been through the process, how do they help another family through that process of choosing what to do next post-high school? We're excited about the opportunities that you have invested in us at Launch Northwest, and we're on our way and would stand for any questions that you might have.
Let's go with Councilmember Cathcart, then Councilmember Stratton.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. Great work, and it's really great to hear what you guys are up to. I am just curious, when this kind of came forward, 2 years-ish ago now, I think the original kind of pitch was that we would become a Say Yes to Education community. And I'm wondering what needs to happen for that designation to kind of be official. Are we a Say Yes to Education community now, or is there some action that needs to be taken for that to be official?
So during COVID and the pandemic, when things shut down, the National Say Yes to Education organization actually folded. And so that designation is no longer available to us. So what we have done is modeled after Say Yes, and using consultants from that organization that is now gone, we have modeled after what we believe is best for Spokane. So the Say Yes designation is no longer available to us.
Well, to that point, I mean, I think it would be great, even if it's us coming up with our own version of it, but we should, put that out there that, hey, we are a, whatever you want to call it, a Say Yes to Education community.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
We just have about 1 minute left.
Okay, I'll be quick. 2 thoughts. While you were talking, I was thinking about a visit that I took a few times to Camp Hope when it was at its fullest, and ran into, there were 3 young 20-something men who couldn't afford their rent, but they wanted to stay in school, and so they were staying at camp so they could stay in school, not have to pay rent, and at least continue that higher ed. So I'm hoping at some point that it looks to me, when you brought up Family Promise, so there may be some connection with some of our youth that are homeless trying to get through school because they can't pay for rent. That would be a focus area. And then my other question or comment is, I do a lot of work in Northwest Spokane with the Shadle Wellness Program from ESD 101, or ESD 101. And I'm just hoping, I don't know if there's any partnerships there, but they're doing some great stuff with Shadle students and some of those students in that area. So I was just wanting to bring those two up.
Thank you very much. And also for us, it's persistence. So it doesn't, we don't want to just get kids to post-high school education. Kids, they're young people, they're adults now. But we want them to finish. And so what are the persistence programs that can be put into place? And if in the Family Promise model, they will follow those kids even beyond, those young people, even beyond the high school graduation into those next levels. And so they will be able to work with students who are even experiencing housing insecurity.
Right. Yeah, that was heartbreaking to see
Yes.
that, yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming down and all that you do. And anxious to, Councilmember Strata and I won't be here, but anxious to see that you are going to go forward and be really successful in this. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have about a little over 20 minutes left for Nicolette and Kelly. Council discussion on extreme heat response.
Good afternoon. As you are already aware, we've been experiencing temperatures that have exceeded 95 degrees, and we've got more to come. And you also know that triggers activation of our cooling centers per the ordinance you passed in July 2021. And the academics about the dangers of heat on our most vulnerable populations are unquestionable. Last year, June of 2022, Dr. Matt Holland, who's one of our internal medicine specialists here in Spokane, presented to our own Urban Experience Committee saying that extreme heat has serious life-threatening consequences, including death, mainly from stress to the cardiovascular system. And then again in May of 2022, there was a grad student at the University of Virginia School of Public Policy chose to concentrate his master's thesis on extreme heat right here in Spokane. He has family in the area. He recommended that of 3 potential policy alternatives, an extreme heat action plan was the best option for Spokane to alleviate the effects on these populations. Extreme heat has serious life-threatening consequences, and the consequences disproportionately affect the elderly, the residents in our urban heat islands, and to a dramatic degree, our unhoused citizens living out in the elements. How this has translated into actual operation, though, during the 2 years since we passed Ordinance 36077 has sometimes been at odds with what we as a city are supposed to be doing. As you're aware, by September 30th of each year, the city shall publish and disseminate the plan for emergency warming, cooling, and safe air centers with details, the names and locations of providers, capacity and scalability, activation criteria, cost, funding sources, partnerships, communications, and a publicity plan. Nicolette's going to discuss now how the city responded to our most recent event, the trigger event last weekend when temperatures exceeded 95 degrees. Thank you.
Hello, Council. I did want to first point out 3 key points in the SMC under the key findings section of the protections for homeless people in the chapter Title 18 Human Rights section of the code. It was passed at the same time that Kelly was referring to in July of 2021. I'm not going to read it word for word, but there are 3 key pieces I want to remind you guys about. One is that the legislative findings were such that providing protection from extreme weather is vital and essential government function. Number 2, that extreme weather equals extreme danger for vulnerable populations and creates a strain on service providers. And number 3, that gaps in the services during inclement and extreme weather is a recurring problem for the city. And so for all of you sitting up there, I know that you guys remember all of this because you are actually council members who voted on that, and Councilman Bingo, I'm sure, is aware of it as well. One of the reasons why we're bringing these concerns and recommendations to you is not obviously to tear anybody down or point fingers, but instead to open up a dialogue about how our emergency homeless response system can be more efficient during these extreme weather events. So on Friday morning, I was looking at the weather and I saw over the next 3 days, Friday was going to be 99 degrees, Saturday 98 degrees, and Sunday 96 degrees. And this is according to the National Weather Service, which is the weather service that we have codified in the code as the one that triggers the activation of the cooling centers. So after looking up the temperature on Friday, I noticed that the Shelter Me Spokane website hadn't been updated with the track shelter availability and hadn't been updated since July 19th, and I was checking in on the 21st. I then called the track shelter to see if there were any beds available, and I didn't get an answer, and the voicemail was full, and the voicemail message said that I was calling a number that wasn't the phone number I actually called. So there was a lot of confusion even as I was trying to figure out if I'd called the right number. And so if somebody experiencing homelessness was trying to, or a service provider were trying to find whether or not there were shelter availability using the website and those resources, they would have had dickens of a time doing it. I work for the city and I still don't know for a fact whether or not there were beds available that night. So considering this, I have listed a few and spoke with Kelly and others about a few recommendations going forward that might make this better. One is that the track shelter could have an answering machine, especially that listed emergency services like we have X number of beds available, or if you're looking for a ride to the shelter, you can utilize the STA fare exemption, or you can call this number because we did have Salvation Army vans available that could go pick people up, but it was really difficult for people to know that option existed. So also having a consistently updated information on the Shelter Me Spokane website with the track bed availability, and even the National Weather Service information wasn't accurate, so making sure that's consistently updated would make it more efficient over time. Also mechanisms for addressing the gaps or issues in the moment. So often council members and staff are the first to hear about this. Service providers and people on the streets will sometimes just call us or send us a message and hoping that we have the answer. And even when we go and try to troubleshoot the system or point them a direction, if we identify these gaps, it's difficult to know how to pivot and course correct that right in the moment, especially on a weekend, right? Everybody is, off or about to be off for the weekend, and it wasn't clear who we should call and who we should get to update that information right away. It's one thing to address it on Monday or now Thursday, right? But to actually pivot in the moment so that those resources can be accessed and so that the information can be out there is a completely other thing. And so there's that, and then and then along those lines, it's imperative that public-facing data be accurate because we want people to use that website to know how to access those services. And so if that website isn't correct, people are going to stop using it. Go ahead.
So do we know who's in charge of updating that website? Do we know what the process is for updating that website? I don't think that should ever go unupdated.
So we do have Kim McCollum here. I don't know the answer to that.
And frankly, and maybe you can answer this, Kim, it should be so simple. It should be a 5-digit text message and it's updated. I mean, we can do that so easily.
We're talking about the shelter meeting now, right?
Yeah.
Still. Yes. Good afternoon, Council President, Council members. Thank you. That situation, not to state it this way because I know there's often issues around Shelter Me Spokane, but in that situation, the Salvation Army had lost 2 employees who had access to the Shelter Me system. This also happened several weeks ago too, at a time when a couple of nights were not put in. What has to happen in that is they have to come back to the city. We go to IT with the name of the new person. They get access to be able to enter the information into Shelter Me Spokane. It just happened to be that period of time that they've lost. They not only lost Cassandra Cram, but they also lost one of their other security gentlemen who did have access. You can only have so many at access. But to that point, just so all of you know as well, I have my phone all weekend. I talk a lot with the Salvation Army during that time. In that situation, there was that conversation back and forth. The person who could do it was actually off on that weekend. So it kind of left us at a point that was unfortunate. But we try really hard to know where they're at, if they need more resources. So that piece I'll own. but also in those situations, like when Nicolette, when she talked to the Salvation Army and they did not have really good information. We've talked about that off and on in the past as well, but I do love the idea. So thank you, Nicolette, for the answering machine. That is something that when I meet with them again, we will talk to some of that in regards to the.
Couldn't we do that? Couldn't we update if they just give us the information?
If they're working, yes. I mean, I think I have to talk to Daniel how that really Daniel does, his team
Okay.
does some of those updates, or IT does one or the other.
Okay.
But if it's a challenge just to get the website updated, are they going to have the time to sit and record a voicemail every day that's different?
Well, I think on that, the Shelter Me works pretty well. I mean, like they've been updated the last couple of days. They showed they had, I think it was 9 or 10 beds open yesterday. So they've been under that 350. But also it's the fact that having because they have 2 phone numbers that actually they can get a ride back and forth to go to a different shelter. And so having that, and I know I've talked to several council members about having more information out there at places where the unhoused are, like going the Chaz clinics, the DSHS off, actually with like that. Brian Walker did several different updates on his media release that has all the library's addresses, all of that, and just taking that and actually having it in, maybe print it off and having it at locations so that anyone, because even in regards to when Councilmember Wilkerson was talking about how, trying to get on the bus and knowing exactly what to say to go to a cooling center. So, sorry, I don't mean to ramble.
No, but again, it's 2023. We shouldn't be printing it off. We should have monitors up to date. Like we just make things so, I think, convoluted and we're operating off a lot of antiquated technology.
Really good point. Yes, thank you. And we'll take that back as well and see what some of that also has been mentioned in regards to having that information on the Shelter Me and keep that updated.
Yeah.
And I'll check on that weather.
That'd be great.
The national weather, because that's what Sarah Nuss uses in regards to doing those activations. So we want to make sure we have those things coordinated.
The last thing I would just say, and I have to leave for another meeting here, so I apologize. In terms of just the heat and the system overall, I don't think track is the answer to that. There's a lot of people that, I will just say it, don't belong at track, and that's not the place for them to go, and they're not going to go there anyway. And so we need to have other options. And I think the answer is, frankly, libraries, religious facilities, schools. I think the schools need to step up in a bigger way and open their gymnasiums across the community. And then lastly, our community centers. And so I think between those 4, we can provide enough sheltering options for the entire community.
I can let Sarah talk to this a minute if she'd likes to, or I can start in on some of that information. As far as community centers, they have programming during those timings, and so that's been a difficult conversation this year. In regards to the libraries, well, at least like last year, some of the statistics are that people aren't going to the libraries. A lot, especially seniors, persons with disabilities, prefer to stay home, and that's why having opportunities to get more donations for fans, like Meals on Wheels are doing, but also maybe even through the city trying to do more of that. That will help, but also there's that. So if there's not as many going to their libraries, having the staff there, those extra hours as well as, but those are conversations that Sarah still has been having with Andrew, the director of the libraries. And in regards to, I have been working with Martin Luther King, the community center, in regards to having extra hours. Unfortunately, their HVAC went out, much like that, but they are in the midst of fixing that. That's not going to probably help us at this time, but the director there was very helpful in allowing us to have that time during the weekdays.
Michael, or Councilmember Cathcart, that was our intention when we first passed this ordinance, that every time there was an incident or an emergency, everybody knew what to do. It was always the same thing every single time. So people didn't have to run around scrambling to figure out where they're supposed to go, what are the hours, any of that. It was supposed to be the same every single time. And that hasn't happened. And that's a frustration for me as well. And I agree, we should be having those conversations. So it's not just, you're right. And the folks that are elderly, they think they can stay in their home. A fan is not going to work if it's really, really hot. It just blows hot air around. So
Yeah.
not an option. Before you go on, Councilmember Stratton, go ahead with.
So I just have a really simple question, and I agree, you guys get stuck in the middle of it. This should be something should be planned every year. We know what it is, everything's laid out, and we've done the public relations on some of it. But, so my frustration is we have Amber Alerts, right? We have emergency alerts that come on our phones, on the TV. Is there any way that we can coordinate something like that? So when we have that heat wave, it's City of Spokane, this is where you go. We even have the construction signs that, direct people in detours that sometimes can be programmed. But it just seems to me like we should be letting as many people know exactly, and a phone number to call, but that kind of lists some of those services. Is that hard to do?
It's not. Good afternoon, council members. Sarah Nuss. That is actually a tool that we would have to purchase at the city, which I have not had access to yet. It has been in my budget request.
Okay.
For us to be able to push messages out that aren't just done traditionally with the communications, but that are actually alert and warning notifications, we need a software tool like that. The county has one, but they're pretty particular about what they use it for, and they don't have the same mission that we do about that messaging. PD has it, Fire has it, but for their users only, because it's a per user fee. So yes, we could do that. That is something that you should consider as our budget approvers, to be able to incorporate something like that so that we could push such messages. Those signs you messaged, variable messaging signs, that's in our Public Works Department. We could definitely coordinate with streets to see how we could use that to push people to where we want them to go.
Well, I'm not going to be here next year, but I approve you spending the money
Thank you.
on
I will
that
carry that on.
emergency system.
Thanks so much, Karen.
Because I think
Appreciate
it at least, and I'm driving around, and if I got a beep and look and I see somebody on the street, I could at least pull over and say, you need to go here, these are some options. But it's just kind of scary sometimes.
Can we share just really quick, because I know.
Yeah, we're really.
Okay, just really fast, we just have had a lot of donations from Safeway, and as well as Coca-Cola. That was 155 total cases of water. We are having a new donation from Surface Experts that we'll be picking up tomorrow. We've also provided the powdered Gatorade, the liquid IVs to all the libraries as well as tracks. So I just wanted to say a shout out to the Safeway
great.
stores as well as the
Thank you.
Coca-Cola.
Okay, thank you both. And Nicolette and Kelly, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wilkerson, you
Thank
have
you.
an announcement.
Thank you. Point of personal privilege. I'd like to bring Ms. Jamie Stacy down and her group with their amazing shirts on. This is a camp through the YWCA of young women of color in leadership.
Yes.
And they are touring City Hall today, and we'll be brief because they're hungry, and we have promised them lunch. Ms. Jamie, why don't you give us just a quick overview of your program, and then we'll...
Where's lunch?
Mod Pizza.
Okay.
Head to Mod Pizza, everyone.
Might see you there. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Council. It is so good to be here today. Thank you for opening up this space for us. This is a partnership with SWAG, which is Strong Women Achieving Greatness. I'm the founder and executive director of that, and YWCA. We come together to bring Transformations Camp to the city, and it is focused on mentoring, equipping, and empowering young women of color, and for them to come into this space to have an opportunity to see what leadership looks like and to understand that this is where change happens in our city. And these young women register for this camp months in advance. And so they are here for experiences. We are not here to be on our phones or to have all these electronic things happening, but to have experiences that are life-changing and to be able to have conversations with people who are making decisions that impact these future generations.
Thank you. I will not embarrass my two granddaughters by pointing them out.
Oh.
They're in the audience.
Okay, raise your
Because I'll have to
hand.
pay for that. All you guys raise your hands because they're all my girls. Everybody raise their hand. There you go.
Okay, if we guess, will you say that, yes, you guessed right?
Let's see if we can guess. There's, yes.
There's Cyan and there's Isa. And of course, I'll embarrass them even further. They just turned 14, so all we talk about is driving cars.
Okay.
There you go.
And your grandmother should be buying you cars. So when you get your license, you have your own car.
I have a minivan.
And it should be a convertible.
There you go. Again, Ms. Jamie Stacy, thank you, girls, for coming down to City Hall and learning the experience of what government looks like up front. And to see, if you just noticed, women on the dais, I think that's just powerful. To representation matters. So thank you. Council President, I'll let you join so we can go eat.
Thank you, all of you. And I know each and every one of you is going to do great things, so
Yeah.
looking forward to that. We'll see you back here July 31st. More meetings, back to back. And thanks, everyone, for coming down. We're adjourned.
Meeting's adjourned.
Good job.
Girls, could you come up for a quick picture? We're going.